Posted by u/Ordos Deluxe on r/true off my chest. My wife told me to shut my mouth in front of a bunch of people at a kid's birthday party. My wife and I are at odds lately over her sister-in-law, who is also her best friend, who is married to her brother. Long story short, she bends over backwards to accommodate their every ask, including babysitting, errands, etc. This extends to volunteering me to help them without my knowledge or consent, etc. She never sees my point of view or agrees with any criticism of them I have. We were at my nephew's birthday party today. My sister-in-law is the one who's hosting it, so my wife is super keen for things to go well. Things were going okay. My daughter, 3, was a bit upset because her balloon animal had accidentally been popped. So she's standing with my wife getting a cuddle, and a boy, older than her, 5/6, sprints into her and knocks her over. She's crying obviously, and I pick her up. My wife is making a joke of it, saying, "Oh, she needs to watch where she's going." I said back to her, "Don't blame her for getting bowled over by the bigger boy." Now, apparently the mother of this other kid was in earshot, which prompted my wife to tell me, in front of one of her other best friends and a couple of other guests, to shut my mouth. Then she had the cheek to tell me to not have a moody face. 15 minutes before this post, I sent an email to a divorce lawyer for a consultation. I've finally reached my limit. Update. Firstly, I'd just like to thank everyone for your responses, supportive or otherwise. Being heard and listened to is such a mental boost. I spoke to my solicitor first thing this morning, and we had a good talk. He knows that I'm angry and upset at the situation, and he says that he will get myself and my wife in for a consultation if we decide to go down that route. The issue in Scotland is that for a divorce where only one party wants out, it can take upwards of a year to get it, and evidence of separation in that period, unless both parties agree to unreasonable behavior as the reason for the courts granting the divorce. Long story short, I can't proceed without her buy-in, if I want it resolved fast. So I took my daughter to my mum's after this, and then sat my wife down. I told her that yesterday's situation was absolutely unacceptable, and that if I had told her to shut her mouth in front of my friends, that I'd be getting crucified from everyone we know. I told her she was lucky I kept my mouth shut at the party, and that I didn't give a fuck about how sister-in-law would have taken it. We fought again about sister-in-law, and again, she defended her actions, saying that I'm the selfish one who won't help out my family when they need it. I then did the, perhaps petty, move of dropping divorce leaflets I'd printed from my solicitor's website in front of her. I said to her, I absolutely want to help my family, and this is how I do it. I told her about how I was tired of playing third wheel in my own marriage, and I told her that I was not prepared to subject my daughter to a lifetime of this subservience. Finally, it looks like what I've said has had an impact. She cried, and I think she was close to having a panic attack. This made me feel guilty, because fundamentally I don't think she's a bad person. She's just brainwashed into thinking sister-in-law is the second coming of the Messiah. So she promised that when I've finished work today we can have a serious talk about things, and she will listen to my concerns. Right now I'm not buying it, but I owe her and my daughter at least a chance to sort things out. So I'll see where it goes. To answer some questions folks had, I know this seemed like an overreaction to something, but you've got to understand this was the latest in a long line of sister-in-law related issues. Some folks have asked if my wife is gay and in love, I have thought about this as a possibility. I didn't ask her yet, but I may tonight. It certainly seems logical given how passionate she gets about it. Thanks everyone for reading, and especially all of you who have DM'd me. I appreciate it more than you know. Update 2. Hi again everyone. Thanks for all of your continued support and advice. I wanted to put another update on to let you know what was happening. So we sat down last night for the crunch talks. I have to give her credit where it's due. She apologized for what she said at the party, and she said that she'd also have considered divorce if I'd done the same to her. I reiterated to her that my issue is that she completely makes herself subservient to sister-in-law at our expense. I pointed out how messed up it was that she didn't immediately take our daughter's side in this incident. The collision was accidental, I think, but I told her that to blame the little one was out of line, which she accepted. I then asked her outright if she had any sort of romantic feelings for sister-in-law. She squirmed and looked a little uncomfortable. She said that a long time ago at the end of high school there had been a drunken kiss on a night out, but nothing beyond that. She sort of played the angle that she didn't want anyone, especially her brother, to know about it, and that's why she bends over backwards to make sure sister-in-law is happy. I asked her if sister-in-law had ever threatened to reveal this incident, but she denies that it's even been brought up. She just thinks that if the wider family knew, it'd bring up a lot of weirdness. She swears that she has no interest in having any kind of relationship with sister-in-law, and that she's straight. I told her I didn't care about what she did that long ago, but that it needed to stop impacting our relationship in the present because I am the thinnest of thin hairs away from walking away forever. She, surprisingly, apologized again, and said that she'd really try to work on it. I told her that I needed to see some proof of that, so she can consider herself on probation. I told her that if I feel that it's happened again, I'll be taking our daughter to stay at my mum's. She accepted this, so we're proceeding cautiously. Sorry if this isn't the update you were all hoping for, but I think it's the best thing for the three of us right now. Op also posted on r/am I the arsehole? AITA for leaving my sick wife to deal with 2 toddlers on her own. Not the a-hole. I'd like to give a little bit of background first. I, am 36, and my wife, F35, have a 3-year-old daughter. I have long-standing issues with my wife's sister-in-law, because I think that my wife constantly panders to her, and caters to her every whim, often at the expense of me and my daughter. Recently we had a huge fight about her saying something offensive to me in a public setting in defense of sister-in-law, at our daughter's expense, and up until this point she has tried to do better. We've both been floored with flu for the past 10 days or so, negative COVID tests. She seems to have had it slightly worse than me, so I've been tagged in to do all chores, childcare and cooking while she's tried to get as much rest as possible. This has now trickled into a week I booked off work on holiday, which doesn't bother me in itself, because I'd rather make sure they were both okay. I am, however, starting to feel really run down myself now. I'm tired, I've had limited opportunity to rest and catch up on sleep, and I'm sore. Today my wife woke up at around 9:15 a.m. I'd been up since 6:30 with daughter, and said she was feeling a bit better. I said that's great, and maybe she could hold the fort while I went for a nap. She said that what she was actually thinking was inviting sister-in-law's youngest round for a playdate, to keep our daughter occupied. For reference, she is 3. This isn't an uncommon thing to happen, sister-in-law often brings her kids to us. And for reasons I still don't understand, our daughter is never invited to spend an afternoon with them in their house. I said that I really wasn't feeling up to it today. My wife said that I wouldn't have to do anything to entertain him, to which I was skeptical about, so I agreed. So about 15 minutes after she arrives, I'm asked to get them drinks and snacks, and then play games and occupy them. Now, I'm aware that I'd have needed to do this for my own daughter, but going from 1 to 2 toddlers is such a huge leap in terms of the demand on your time and energy. Add this to the fact that I was feeling lousy, and it just wasn't a good mix. I'm off work this week, and on top of my illness, I didn't sign up for extra childcare duties. After about 2 hours, I told my wife that I was going up to my mum's house to get a sleep. The whole way up, she was phoning and texting me, absolutely furious that I'd left her to deal with it. I'm literally lying in my mum's spare bed writing this now, but my brain is too wired to sleep. AITA. I know it's shitty leaving her while she's sick to deal with 2 toddlers, but after so long holding the ball, I've reached my limit.